Chapter 11. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The entire server was shocked. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. With the appearance of the broadcast, all the players in Second World were shocked. What the F***ck, it's only the second day, and a boss has already been killed. How? The **T, who's the monster that did that? A single person can take on boss alone. Is this a private server? I'm so envious. A boss can drop so many good things. A guild's share of the loot would not be given to him alone. Reputation. What's the use of this? Countless players were stupefied. It was common knowledge that the bosses in Second World were extremely dangerous. In the past 2 days, countless first-rate guilds have been wiped out. However, now, the boss they tried so hard to defeat had actually been single-handedly killed by morning mist. All of the guild leaders had solemn expressions on their faces. As the leaders of a guild, they knew how terrifying the bosses in this world were. According to the intelligence report, this morning mist player was only level 5. How did he manage to kill a boss all on his own? At the foot of Stone Mountain, Lu Chen was surrounded by white light. The music of leveling up sounded 3 times in a row. Killing a boss this time had given him a huge amount of EXP. He had leveled up 3 times in a row. Your level has been raised to level 8. 12 free attribute points can now be allocated. Lu Chen did not hesitate. As usual, he allocated all his attribute points to strength. Looking at the items on the ground, Lu Chen's face lit up with joy. He immediately put them all into his backpack. You have received 10 gold coins. You have received a decaying ring bronze. Grade. You have received a broadsword. You have received a tusk necklace. You have obtained a wild boar king's leather. You have obtained a skill scroll, Earth Stomp. Looking at the dazzling array of items, Lu Chen was extremely pleased. This was a great harvest. A bronze boss had dropped 10 gold coins for him. That was $100,000. That was only the early stages of the boss. There were even 3 pieces of equipment. One had to know that right now, other than the silver-grade armor on Lu Chen's body, the other equipment columns were all empty. In the online game world, the attributes of equipment were beneficial to players. Decaying ring, bronze, level requirement. Free, vitality. Plus 10, strength. Plus 8, agility. Plus 8, intelligence. Plus 10, all attributes. Plus 5, Lu Chen took a look at its attributes. A piece of bronze equipment was not that good. It seemed that special effects could only be obtained from silver-grade equipment. However, it was still not bad for a single piece of equipment to be able to match the increase in his attributes by several levels. Lu Chen continued to check the other items. Broadsword, bronze, level requirement. Free, vitality. Plus 5, strength. Plus 10, agility. Plus 3, intelligence. Plus 3, attack power. Plus 150, tusk necklace, bronze, level requirement. Free, vitality. Plus 8, strength. Plus 6, agility. Plus 3, intelligence. Plus 10, HP plus 100, MP plus 100, Lu Chen did not hesitate to equip these 3 items. With that, his attributes immediately received a huge increase. Then, he looked at the skill scroll in his backpack. This was the second time he had received a scroll. The first time was in the novice village. The old village chief had given him 3 teleportation scrolls. They were all epic-grade items, but they were one-time consumables. However, this time was different. This scroll was actually a skill-type. In the early stages of the game, it was basically impossible for players to obtain skills before they arrived at White Fog City to change their class. Only bosses would drop such skill scrolls. Lu Chen took a look at the description of this skill scroll. Earth Stomp, Bronze. Grade skill. Uses violent brute force to stomp on enemies within a 500-meter radius, dealing 500 damage and stunning them for 1 second. Consumes 100 MP per use. Cooldown. 60 minutes, player can use reputation points to level up the skill. Obviously, this was the Wild Boar King's skill. Such an AoE control skill was practically a monster clearing skill, and it even allowed players to have control over it. As for reputation points, it could be used to level up his skills. Moreover, he had a feeling that this thing might have other uses in the future. Therefore, Lu Chen did not hesitate and directly chose to learn the skill. In an instant, a trample mark appeared on the skill pane. On his own panel, there was another silver title. First Kill Boss, title. Unique, you are the first person in the entire server to kill the boss alone, the system will grant you this honor. The title's attributes will take effect under any state. Vitality. Plus 50, Strength. Plus 50, Agility. Plus 50, Intelligence. Plus 50, Passive. Your damage to elite bosses will be permanently increased by 50%. F***CK. Lu Chen was shocked. He had never thought that being the first to kill a boss would have so many attribute bonuses. It directly gave him 50 points to 4 of his attributes. What kind of concept was this? With the bonus from this title alone, he would be able to increase his attributes by more than 10 to 20 levels. More importantly, there was a passive effect of this title that could deal 50% more damage to elite monsters. This additional passive bonus was a big deal. In the future, the difficulty of Lu Chen's solo battle with bosses would become much lower. He could not wait any longer and opened his own attribute panel. This time, killing a boss had given him a qualitative improvement. Name. Morning Mist, Level 8, Class. Hero, you may now change classes to War God, titles. Sword God, Hidden, Shield God, Hidden, Axe God, Hidden, Blade God, Hidden, All-Rounded Master, Hidden, Vitality. 111, Strength. 124, Agility. 82, Intelligence. 106, HP, 1210, MP 1160, Attack. 1390, Defense. 15, Magic Defense. 15, Reputation. 1000, Skill. Earth Stomp, Attack Speed. 8.4, the luxurious stats on his interface blinded Lu Chen's eyes. Under such improvements, Lu Chen was sure that if he were to encounter the Wild Boar King again, his opponent would have died in one single attack. His current attributes were equivalent to other people's attribute panels if they were level 20. Lu Chen looked at the items in his backpack, and his heart was filled with joy. It seemed that fighting bosses were the fastest way to increase his strength. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Silver Boss. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The second world set out from the novice village, passing through a grassland for beginners to level up. After that, there would be countless paths that were all shrouded in white fog, and all of them headed towards White Fog City. However, after 2 days of exploration, countless players announced the information of these paths. The leftmost path was the Wolf Valley. The most common wild monsters were all mostly level 8. These types of wild monsters had high attack speed and high damage. If one was not careful, they could be instantly killed. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Wolf Valley was a silver boss, the White Wolf King. After passing through the Wolf Valley, one could reach the outskirts of White Fog City. However, the prerequisite was to kill the White Wolf King of the Wolf Valley. It was only then could one pass through. The second path was to Bear Ridge. It was also full of level 8 monsters. However, This type of wild monster had high HP and defense, making it extremely difficult to deal with. Similarly, deep within Bear Ridge, there was a silver black bear king. After that, there were other paths that had the Snake Pond, Bat Cave, Mass Grave, and Tiger Mountain. There was a silver-tier boss camped in each path. This caused countless players to complain endlessly. Without their class advancement, how could they possibly defeat such a terrifying silver-tier boss? It was absolutely impossible for one player to pass these monsters and arrive at White Fog City safely. No matter how big the guild was, they were destined to be stuck here with these monsters. According to the information released on the official website, the class advancement requirement was level 10. However, there was no way that someone who was only level 10 could wipe out all the monsters along the way and arrive at White Fog City safely. The information on the official website showed that after arriving in White Fog City, the strength of the players would undergo a qualitative change. In regards to that information, the 3 scrolls in Lu Chen's hands became even more precious. At this moment, outside of Wolf Valley, countless players had gathered. This was because there was news that the number 1 guild in South City, White Alliance, was going to surround and kill Morning Mist here. Moreover, someone had seen with his own eyes that Morning Mist had already stepped into Wolf Valley and was walking towards the White Fog City. Damn, there's finally a major power group making a move on that dude. This time, I think this so-called Sword God skill is going to be overturned. Hee, you're dreaming, bro. We're talking about the rabbit-killing demon here. He has the title of Sword God and Bow Sword on him. Even just now, he single-handedly challenged the first boss in the entire server. Do you think he's that weak? You have to know that this is the largest guild in the south, the White Alliance. Plus, they have countless experts. They were the ones who killed the second bronze boss in the entire server. They were just a few minutes slower than Morning Mist. What a joke. How many people in their guild were fighting one boss? Morning Mist fought the boss on point 1. Hee, so what if the White Alliance guild needed more people to win? This time, there are more than 1,000 players. If they fight him with this amount, I bet that Morning Mist will definitely not survive. Countless players were looking forward to Lu Chen's appearance. After all, such a good show could not be seen every day. Meanwhile, around the Wolf Valley, the major forces of the Dragon Country were lurking in the dark. There were even quite a number of people who were familiar with each other and recognized each other. I didn't expect the Su family to come either. Why are you interested in this Morning Mist dude? A handsome young man holding a slender white sword said to the group of people in front of him. The group of people in front of him was mainly comprised of tall and slender women with an aura of a delicate flower. They were surrounded by a few people. One woman took a glance at the young man and was secretly shocked. This person actually had a silver-grade weapon in his hands. He only had been in the game for 2 days. Other than the one that Lu Chen had obtained, this was only the second silver-grade equipment to be seen. Morning Mist seems to have endless potential. Even you, the eldest young master of Peaceful Town, have come. How can my Su family not join in on the fun? The young master of Peaceful Town smiled but did not say anything. On the other side, at the White Alliance Guild's ambush, a man dressed in a black robe said with a serious gaze. Xiao Chuan, is your White Alliance Guild really going to make a move? In front of that man stood a young man dressed in white. His face was filled with arrogance. I don't see Morning Mist in my sight at all. The Night Union plans on protecting him, you know that. The man in black shook his head and said, I just think that Morning Mist is a force to not be reckoned with. It's much better to not be his enemy if he joins the Union. Xiao Chuan, the leader of the White Alliance Guild, simply waved his hand and said, I admit that this Morning Mist is strong. Of course, I will give him the chance to join our White Alliance Guild. But the premise is that he must bow down to us and know his place. I don't want there to be a wild horse that can't be tamed here. The man in black shook his head and said, "Your personality is much too strong. One day, you will suffer a great loss." Xiao Chuan smiled coldly and said, "In this world, the strong are always respected, right? Even if he has a golden title, do you think I'll be afraid of him?" As soon as Xiao Chuan finished speaking, two golden words appeared above his head, "Overlord." A terrifying aura circulated above his head. This very action from Xiao Chuan made the black-clothed man stop in his tracks. After a long while, he said deeply, "I only hope that you know your limits and take care of yourself." As he finished speaking, the black-clothed man's figure strangely disappeared in front of him. Not too far away in the forest, a woman with a strong figure was sitting on a tall tree branch. Her voluptuous curves pressed against the branches, making her extremely alluring. She was wearing emerald-green leather armor, giving off a solemn killing intent. At the same time, on the surrounding tree trunks, there were 4 other people wearing the same leather armor as well. "Lu Yuan, is this kid really not afraid of death? If he dies once in this world, the consequences will be very serious." A man's voice traveled through the dense forest and reached the woman's ears. "Shut up. Call me by my number when you're on a mission." The woman was Lu Yuan. She had been feeling resentful ever since she was rejected by Lu Chen. However, when she heard that Lu Chen was in danger, she still gathered the members of the Dragon Country team for backup. After all, Lu Chen was someone that the higher UPS paid special attention to. If Lu Chen was in danger, they would help him out. Alright, 0927. By the way, the boss wanted you to investigate the situation, right? Did you get any information? The man's voice sounded again. Lu Yuan's face turned black from the question. She was angry whenever this matter was brought up. "Shut up. Since you're so concerned, how about you teach me how to conduct the mission?" The voice smiled embarrassedly and said, "I'm not as charming as you are." "Shut up. The next time I see laughing at work, I'll make sure you'll never get to be a father ever again." After she said that, the man zipped his mouth shut. Lu Yuan finally had a smile on her face, satisfied with the response. This man really deserved to be taught a lesson. Suddenly, her eyes focused and she saw the figure of a man in the distance. She immediately sent a message to her people, "Attention all departments, the target has appeared." Chapter 13. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Surrounded. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Lu Chen's footsteps were light. He had practically forced his way into Wolf Valley. These level 8 monsters simply could not withstand even 2 slashes from Lu Chen. With his current attack speed, his maximum attack speed was 8 slashes per second. With close to 1,400 attack power, he could deal close to 10,000 damage per second. However, with his maximum attack speed, he would consume a certain amount of HP and MP. In Second World, even if it was just a game, his body would still experience the fatigue of constantly exerting energy. At the same time, his equipment would also experience wear and tear were he to use it for too long. After a character reaches level 10, their attack speed would change, and they would no longer receive such a high increase in points. At this moment, Lu Chen had walked from the outskirts of the Wolf Valley to the depths of the Wolf Valley. His level had already risen to level 10 after encountering so many monsters. In the valley, Lu Chen frowned slightly as he looked at the scene before him. It seemed like countless players had gathered here. It seemed like they were waiting for someone. Morning mist, right? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Suddenly, a man dressed in white walked out from the forest. His appearance looked strange to Lu Chen, and his entire body exuded a certain unruly aura. At the same time, a large group of people surged out from the forest and surrounded Lu Chen. Lu Chen was displeased by the gaze of the man in front of him. He was even more displeased when he realized that he was surrounded and the people around him were looking at him with malicious eyes. The man in white spoke up. Let me introduce myself. I am Xiao Chuan, the leader of the White Alliance Guild. I believe that my reputation precedes me. White Alliance Guild. Lu Chen did know of this guild at all. This guild was established 20 years ago. Whether in game or in the real world, the White Alliance had a huge influence in the East. In Dragon Country, there was a saying, it said that the South was white, and the North was goo. The white referred to the White Alliance in the South, and goo was referred to the legendary goo family of the Dragon Country. It was said that when the White Alliance was at its peak, there were 1 million members in the guild. This number only accounted for the core members of the guild. It did not count for the external forces that were connected to it. It could be said that the White Alliance was the most powerful guild and had a great influence on the country. Moreover, the members of the White Alliance had always been overbearing and tyrannical. Everyone knew that those who followed their orders would prosper and those who went against them would perish. Lu Chen glanced at Xiao Chuan and could roughly guess the other party's plan. After all, he was currently in the limelight. The leader of the White Alliance had personally gone out and brought so many people to meet him. Lu Chen concluded that this meetup may not necessarily be a good thing for him. As expected, Xiao Chuan spoke indifferently in a condescending tone. I'll give you 2 choices now. The first one is to join our White Alliance. I'll give you the position of becoming the second in command. The annual income would be no less than this amount. Xiao Chuan then showed Lu Chen the amount on his fingers. 10 million. Lu Chen smiled and replied. Xiao Chuan shook his head, no, it's 100 million. Lu Chen said calmly, you're being really generous with your offer, sir. An income of 100 million, and getting to be the second in command. It sure does sound enticing. Although, nothing really is free in life, isn't it? So what's the catch? Xiao Chuan said, it seems as though you carry a little bit of intelligence, boy. You are indeed right that nothing is free in life. He paused for a moment and continued, I want the 3 scrolls in your hands. I'll pay you whatever amount you wish for. The man in white pointed his finger to his head before speaking again. Think it over carefully. Our White Alliance's sincerity is not one to disregard. Up until now, no one has been able to deserve this much respect from us. We are being kind here, know this. Lu Chen looked at the White Alliance players who were getting closer and he sneered in response. I'm not sure if I can see the sincerity that you're talking about, nor can I disregard the malicious intent coming out from your people. Have you ever seen a group of subordinates surround the other party when they're discussing important matters? Xiao Chuan frowned and said, it seems as though you have decided to go with the second choice. Lu Chen raised his eyebrows and said, oh, what's the second choice? Xiao Chuan's face was filled with anger as he spoke. The second choice is to become the enemy of the White Alliance starting today. You should know that whatever the White Alliance wants, they will by any means get. No matter where you resurrect, there will definitely be people from the White Alliance guarding the spot. I'll kill you time and time again. Think carefully, boy. Option 1 would give you unlimited glory and to be second in command in the greatest guild, and the other option is to be pursued by the White Alliance indefinitely. Lu Chen smiled, looked at Xiao Chuan and said, I think we should choose the third option. Xiao Chuan was stunned and said, the third option. A broadsword suddenly appeared in Lu Chen's hand. He laughed sinisterly and said, that is to send all of you back to the resurrection point. After he said that, everyone was shocked. You. Xiao Chuan wanted to call Lu Chen an arrogant jerk. However, before the words came out of his mouth, Lu Chen's broadsword had already arrived in front of him. Guild leader. No one in the entire White Alliance had expected that Lu Chen would be so bold as to directly attack Xiao Chuan. 2 large golden words appeared above Lu Chen's head, Blade God. The group was shocked. Was this guy going to F*King kill everyone here? Was having the sword god and bow god not enough? How did he manage to obtain the title Blade God too? Just how many titles did this guy have? Lu Qin raised his broadsword and slashed down. His one strike caused everyone around to tremble in fear. The Blade God's analysis popped up as a system notification for Lu Qin. Blade God. Your understanding of the blade has reached an unfathomable level. When you use a blade-type weapon, you will receive a special effect bonus. This effect will grow with your level. Frenzied Blade. When you transform into the Blade God, your attack will definitely be a critical hit. You will have a critical hit immunity effect and receive a 400% critical hit damage bonus. Bloodbath Blade God. When your enemies exceed 100 amount, your attack will become an area of effect damage of 100 meters. 50% of the damage will be converted into your HP. Everyone present felt the terror of Lu Chen's attack. Even Xiao Chuan could not help but turn pale. The pressure exuded from Lu Chen made him feel suffocated. Finally, the broadsword directly slashed into Xiao Chuan's body. A bright red critical hit number appeared above the man in white. 560. Holy sh*T, everyone was shocked. A damage of over 5,000 from a single slash. Was this guy not only level 8? Even if all of his attribute points were focused on strength, he would not have such a high attack, right? Everyone thought that the number was too ridiculous to even comprehend. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that Lu Chen had actually dared to make an enemy out of White Alliance. He did not hesitate to draw his sword towards Xiao Chuan, sending him back to the resurrection point. Many people who were hiding in the shadows had looks of approval in their eyes. The young miss of the Su family, who was dressed in an ocean blue dress, nodded slightly and analyzed Lu Chen. His strength is formidable, and he is decisive with his decisions. The old man's judgment is indeed commendable. If such a person enters our Su family, he will definitely be a great help in the future. The eyes of the rich and the noble young master of Peaceful Town were filled with shock. This kid is much too bold. He even dared to kill Xiao Chuan. With such great strength, I'm afraid that the Dragon Country won't be able to live in peace in the future. Lu Yuan, who was hiding in the dark, could not help but praise her neighbor. He is indeed worthy of being regarded highly by the higher-ups. I have long disliked Xiao Chuan. Well done to Lu Chen. On the battlefield, Xiao Chuan's figure slowly disappeared. He reappeared less than 200 meters away from Lu Chen. With a gloomy face filled with anger, he said, "It seems to me that you are courting death." Chapter 14. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 100,000 shield points. Instant kill. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Xiao Chuan's figure appeared once again, and his body was unscathed. It was obvious that he had used some sort of method to dodge Lu Chen's attack. If I'm not mistaken, did Xiao Chuan just use a substitution scroll just now? He did. In fact, he used a gold-grade scroll. It said that the White Alliance paid a huge price to kill a boss to obtain it. I didn't expect it to be consumed this quickly. This item should be worth at least $20 million on the market, right? In Second World, the function of a substitute scroll was to duplicate a clone with the same attributes as oneself. The duration of its existence would vary according to the quality of the scroll. To powerful players, this scroll was undoubtedly a powerful combat power. It could also be equivalent to one having a second life. Now, Xiao Chuan's clone was killed by Lu Chen without any hesitation. Therefore, Xiao Chuan was extremely furious. He looked at Lu Chen and said fiercely, "You will regret it." After saying that, he took a step back and countless White Alliance players swarmed towards Lu Chen. I'm afraid you'll be the one regretting it." Lu Chen held the broadsword in his hand and turned around to face the sea of enemies. Under the buff of the Blade God's effect, he slashed out with his blade. The area within 100 meters was instantly affected by his attack. Red numbers floated up one by one. 560. The Saber God's AoE's lethality shocked everyone. This is a skill. Impossible, theirs was no indication that he used a skill. That was just a F*King normal attack. The F*CK, wasn't that too ridiculous? A normal attack can cover such a large area. *T, not only is the AoE large, but the damage is also high. Who the F*CK can withstand this overpowering attack? The scene fell into a strange silence. After Lu Chen killed a group of people from White Alliance with a single slash, the subsequent players were already cowering in fear. He had killed everyone with one slash. What was the point of fighting anymore? At this moment, a golden light flashed in the crowd. Xiao Chuan did not expect Lu Chen's strength to be so terrifying. The players of the White Alliance knew that they could not deal any damage to him at all. Knowing this, Xiao Chuan took matters into his own hands and took out his weapon. He was ready for another attack. After Lu Chen's one strike, his current level had reached level 12. Moreover, he had also obtained a new special title. Overlord. He had gained a piece of new equipment, the Sword of the Overlord. Lu Chen also quickly noticed the abnormality of this new equipment and wondered what it could do. You have the all-rounded master title, you may see the hidden effects of the player. The system notification sounded, and Xiao Chuan's attributes immediately entered his sight. Name: Xiao Chuan, level 12, class. Hero, title. Overlord, vitality. 80, strength. 37, agility. 37, intelligence. 37, HP, 1000, MP 500, attack. 2471, defense. 40, magic defense. 30, reputation. 500, overlord. This player is born with an overbearing fate and was born to be a leader. When this player leads a faction, they will receive a special effect. This effect will change with the level of the faction. Conqueror's domination. All attributes of the Overlord will be buffed to the strength attribute, receiving a bonus to attack power. Equipment. Sword of the Overlord, exclusive to the Overlord, grade. Unknown, attack power. Plus 600, special effect. When the Overlord uses the Sword of the Overlord to attack, the damage it causes will be converted into their own shield. This effect has no limit of use. When Xiao Chuan's information entered Lu Chen's mind, even he could not help but gasp in admiration. This Overlord title's effect was really heaven-defying. Although the other four-dimensional attributes were not that high, the attack power had actually reached over 2,000 points. The most ridiculous thing was that the weapon could actually stack shields indefinitely. It was no wonder that this guy was so crazy. At this moment, Xiao Chuan did not hide his attribute panel, so everyone saw this shocking attribute. One player after another cried out in shock. F*CK. What the F*CK am I looking at? Over 2,000 attack power from his attribute panel. Is he even human? He has a golden title. Why are there so many monsters that have golden titles everywhere? I don't think it's the title that's abnormal. It's that weapon. Endless damage and King shield buff. He would be practically invisible. Look, the shield bar on Xiao Chuan's head, it's a 100,000 point shield. Morning Mist is dead for sure. The hearts of the people hiding in the dark tightened. Although they did not like Xiao Chuan's title, they had to admit one thing. This guy's strength was indeed terrifying. Moreover, his influence in Dragon Country was not ordinary. He was arrogant, but he sure did have the status and strength to back up his arrogance. With a shield value of 100,000, even if he stood where he was and let Morning Mist hack at him, it would cause no damage. This time, Morning Mist was dead for sure. The young lady in the ocean blue dress of the Su family revealed a worried expression. She clenched her fists and was already prepared to make a move. Moreover, the noble young master of Peaceful Town had a solemn expression. This was also the first time he saw Xiao Chuan's attribute panel. Such stats should indeed put pressure on Lu Chen. Among the people in the forest, Lu Yuan prepared herself to rush out and save Lu Chen. However, a woman with a strong figure pulled her back. "Don't be anxious, let's see how this plays out." Everyone's gaze was focused on the battlefield at this moment. Lu Chen looked at the shield number above Xiao Chuan's head and smiled. A shield. The thing he was least afraid of was the shield. His Dark Shura skill had a bonus, which was to directly ignore all the shield and armor of his opponents. As Xiao Chuan approached, Lu Chen's figure instantly disappeared into the darkness. Title change, Dark Shura. Xiao Chuan's sword cut through the air, and he could not help but feel aggravated. "Stop playing tricks. Do you think you can escape the pursuit of our White Alliance guild with baby tricks? I advise you to come out obediently and hand over the scroll in your hand. Otherwise, the White Alliance will pursue you to the death. We will let you know what it means to live a life worse than experiencing death." To Xiao Chuan, accumulating 100,000 shield points would give him an invincible upper position. He was not afraid of any tricks from Morning Mist at all. No matter how strong that kid was, it would be absolutely useless to his high shield points. However, just as Xiao Chuan's voice fell, Lu Chen's voice rang in his ears. "Hee, you really won't stop until one of us dies. Would you like to see how it ends when one of us dies?" That voice sounded like an evil spirit from hell, causing Xiao Chuan's hair to instantly shiver from the sound. A cold chill ran from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Before he could react, a dagger that emitted a cold light directly pierced through his neck. A bright red number floated in the air. 170. Xiao Chuan's HP was instantly reduced to 0. Before he could say a single word, he dropped to the ground. The scene quickly fell into a strange silence as everyone was dumbfounded. A one-hit kill. What? What was going on? A shield of 100,000 was nothing in Lu Chen's eyes. Moreover, his form seemed to be different. How many trump cards did this guy still have? Lu Chen looked at the White Alliance players who were extremely terrified and said, "Since your guild leader has spoken, it would be disrespectful if I didn't reply, was it not? He did say that the White Alliance would fight to the death. Alright, I, Morning Mist, shall take up on that challenge." The dagger in his hand instantly turned into a broadsword. He grinned, revealing his ghastly white teeth. His voice was filled with killing intent as he continued speaking, "From today onwards, all the White Alliance players shall become my mortal enemies. I shall kill every single one of you." As he finished speaking, he took a step forward and directly charged into the crowd. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. All the White Alliance players have been wiped out. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Lu Chen stepped into the crowd with his broadsword in hand. He looked like a tiger entering preying on a flock of sheep. The players of the White Alliance did not even have the strength to fight back. In just a few minutes, almost all of them were sent back to the resurrection point outside the novice village. The players around Wolf Valley who witnessed the battle unfold were amazed by Lu Chen's boldness. This was the first person who dared to publicly declare the White Alliance as an enemy. However, based on the strength that Lu Chen had displayed, it really was an extremely exciting battle. Countless White Alliance players complained incessantly as they were sent back to the resurrection point almost in a flash. In Second World, every time they died, they would lose a large amount of experience points. Moreover, they would be under a 24-hour period of weakness. During this period, they had almost no ability to clear monsters. They needed to wait for their status to slowly recover. By being unconsentedly held back, their levels would lag far behind the others. At the resurrection point outside the novice village, a white light flashed. Xiao Chuan's figure appeared. His face was gloomy, and his expression was slightly distorted. As the leader of the White Alliance, he felt humiliated. The number one person in the south was actually killed in one slash. He did not even know how Lu Chen did it. He realized that his shield was completely ineffective in front of Lu Chen. At the same time, rays of white light flashed around Xiao Chuan. Then, the members of the White Alliance appeared one by one. Xiao Chuan was shocked and furious at the same time when all his men appeared here. This meant that they had all died once. Who did this? His voice was low and deep as he tried his best to suppress his anger. It's Morning Mist. All the remaining guild members in Wolf Valley have been killed by him. Not a single one of them was spared. He also said. The player stuttered as he spoke. Xiao Chuan snorted and asked, what else did he say? Quickly spit it out now. That person's body trembled and he immediately said, he declared that since you would not rest until he was dead, he would not show mercy to the people of the White Alliance in the future as well. Xiao Chuan clenched his fists and almost gritted his teeth when he heard this news. After a while, he spoke, word by word, good, very good. He is the first person who dares to openly oppose the White Alliance. Inform everyone that from today onwards, the entire White Alliance will go all out to kill Morning Mist. No matter the price, those who can kill him will have the chance to be the second in command. The monetary reward will be 200 million. As soon as these words were said, everyone's eyes flashed with a fiery light. That was $200 million in the bag were they to succeed. They might not even succeed even if they worked hard for 10 lifetimes. For a moment, all the members of the White Alliance burned with greed. At this moment, in Wolf Valley, within a 200-meter radius of Lu Chen, no one dared to come any closer. The young lady in the ocean blue dress from the Su family looked at the figure of the man in the distance and nodded her head in praise. Not many people in the Su family had Lu Chen's strength and boldness. The seniors had said that if he was outstanding enough, he would have to be scouted into the family at all costs. However, what did this guy like? She frowned slightly. For a moment, she could not think of any condition that could persuade Lu Chen. On the other hand, the president of the Knight Union in the real world, who was hiding in the dark, had a shocked expression. The Dark Knight Guild was an iconic union. Unlike other guilds, it only recruited talents that met certain specific requirements. In the second world, the Dark Knight Guild only wanted assassins. There were even rumors that the leader of the Dark Knight Guild, He Yu, was a top-tier assassin in real life. If we can get Lu Chen to join our union, he will definitely be a great help. That method he carried out just now, I can't get it out of my mind. That's the method of an assassin. His heart was surging with excitement. On the other side, there was an old man beside the noble young master of Peaceful Town. Chen, what do you think of this Morning Mist? The old man clasped his hands behind his back and said, he's a very energetic young man. His strength is, not bad, but his future is hard to predict. If I'm not wrong, there must be a lot of people watching him now. If we want to befriend him, we should do it now. The noble young master nodded and walked out directly. In the depths of the forest, Lu Yuan let out a sigh of relief and said, he gave me a fright. I thought this kid was dead for sure. The woman at the side smiled and said, don't worry. If he did not have the capabilities, the higher UPS wouldn't have taken him so seriously. Lu Yuan nodded and looked at Lu Chen in the distance. She said seriously, from the looks of it, this Lu Chen is someone who will take revenge for everything. He won't hesitate in losses. Moreover, he has a strong personality. If he is recruited into a team, it'll be easy for him to lose control. Therefore, he must have someone who can contain his excessiveness. Alright, let's continue to observe this kid further. I have a feeling that he will give us another surprise soon enough. In the Wolf Valley, Lu Chen had just put away the broadsword in his hand. Right then, a noble-looking young man walked out from the forest in front of him. Lu Chen's expression turned solemn, and he became alert again. Don't be nervous. I'm not here to cause trouble. The young man smiled and quickly explained himself. Lu Chen frowned. Today was really baffling. Strange people kept approaching him, one after another. Let me introduce myself. I'm Gu Yiming of Peaceful Town. As soon as he said this, all the players present turned pale with fright. The Gu family of Peaceful Town. Could it be he's that Gu, from the Gu family? The current leader of the Gu family, Gu Yiming. Nonsense, who else could it be? In the entire Dragon Country, the Gu family had businesses all over the place. Everyone's clothing, food, shelter, and transportation were all inextricably linked to the Gu family. In fact, the Gu family was the one who single-handedly pushed the development of this gaming pod for the people. This was a colossal figure that stood before Lu Chen. A truly important figure. Lu Chen naturally knew of the existence of the Gu family. Although this great aristocratic family with 1,000-year history kept a low profile, their influence was extremely huge. Mr. Gu, what business do you have with me? Lu Chen was still somewhat on guard. Gu Yiming smiled and said, Don't worry Mr. Morning Mist. I don't have any ill intentions. I just want to befriend you. I saw what happened just now. The White Alliance Guild seemed domineering. Mr. Morning Mist, you might be in trouble in the future. Lu Chen waved his hand and said, I don't think so. They're just a bunch of pests. I'll kill them all no matter how many come. Gu Yiming nodded and said, I naturally believe that you have the ability after what you have shown to us. However, no matter how strong you are, there will always be times when you feel troubled. As a sign of sincerity, my Gu family is willing to become Mr. Morning Mist's ally. Although the White Alliance is domineering, no matter how arrogant they are no match for my Gu family when it comes to status. Ding! 1,000 miles requests to be added as a friend. As long as Mr. Morning Mist says the word, our Gu family will definitely make a move. Gu Yiming chuckled. At this moment, the entire Wolf Valley was in chaos. Gu Yiming's words represented the Gu family's whole attitude. This family that dominated the north actually chose to side with Morning Mist and did not hesitate to offend the White Alliance in the south. From what he said, it seemed that as long as the White Alliance and Morning Mist were enemies, by extension White Alliance would be enemies with the Gu family. When the two forces of the north and south clashed, it would not be a small matter. What power did Morning Mist possess for such a big issue to occur? Chapter 16 You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Gathering of Various Forces. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Right when Gu Yiming finished speaking, another group of people walked out from the dark. The leader was a young girl that wore an ocean blue long dress. She was fair and beautiful, full of gentle and virtuous temperament. My Su family also has the same idea. The young girl walked toward Lu Chen and spoke up. As soon as she finished speaking, everyone present was even more shocked. Even the Su family was here. In Dragon Country, there were quite a number of large families, but only the 10 great families had high status rankings. Among the 10, the Su family was an existence that could be placed in the top 5. Moreover, it was said that the Su family seemed to only have one direct descendant female. She was incomparably beautiful, and all the large families wanted to use her to form a marriage alliance. Could it be that she was the one in front of Lu Chen? Lu Chen looked at the young girl walking over and was somewhat stunned. It seemed that what happened in Wolf Valley today was not a coincidence. Ever since he showed his talent in the novice village, all the higher forces had probably noticed him. I'm Su Ziyuan, a direct descendant of the Su family. Mr. Morning Mist, you may refer to me as Zun in the game as well. Su Zun walked to Gu Yiming's side politely and smiled sweetly at Lu Chen. Ding! Zun requests to be added as a friend. The system notification appeared again. Lu Chen looked around and shook his head slightly. How many more people are there? Come out wherever you are. Lu Chen spoke in a jokingly manner. However, as soon as he said that, a large group of people came out from the forest of Wolf Valley. Ahem, Mr. Morning Mist, you really are a charming person. I'm Lu Chongchong of the Lu family. I wish to befriend you too. White Alliance has been a nuisance for much too long, but fret not, Mr. Morning Mist. As long as you are willing to cooperate with the Zhou family, I guarantee that White Alliance won't dare touch so much so as a hair on you. Mr. Morning Mist, do you want to consider our Mabe union? Out benefits are definitely not lower than White Alliance's. For a moment, Lu Chen was surrounded. The system was filled with all kinds of friend requests. Su Ziyuan and Gu Yiming looked at each other and smiled bitterly. It seemed as though Morning Mist had really become a hot commodity and countless forces were fighting for it. However, they had already achieved their goal. It would be much more convenient for them to leave a good impression in front of Lu Chen and interact with him should an opportunity arise in the future. This world was so big, there would always be a suitable opportunity. There was no need to rush. The entire Wolf Valley was noisy, and the surrounding players who were ordinary were so shocked that they could not speak. It took a long time for someone to react. My gosh, what the H*LL is going on? Are all the major forces of the Dragon Country gathered in the Wolf Valley? Is this Morning Mist dude really so popular? Hee, if you have the titles of Sword God, Bow God, and so on, you would definitely be popular. I dare say that as long as these forces offer enticing conditions, he will definitely agree to any of them. Money, beautiful women, properties, he would have whatever he wishes for. F***ck, I'm so envious, why didn't I receive this fate? Lu Chen looked at the people around him and felt a headache coming on. He only heard bits and pieces of everyone's offer and introductions. These people were all high and mighty. Usually, in the real world, with a snap of their fingers, they could easily move mountains. However, now, they were all carefully introducing themselves to him. There was even a hint of flattery involved. If it was an ordinary person, they would already be in a daze from all the offers thrown their way. However, Lu Chen was a very clear-headed man. These people only respected him because of his strength. It was because he had that value. At this moment, for the first time, Lu Chen felt the change brought about by becoming stronger. Amidst the noise, a man squeezed in. When the crowd saw him, they immediately fell silent. Everyone's eyes then gathered over to the man. It was a middle-aged man dressed in black. I'm He Yu from the Dark Knight Guild. It's our first time meeting, and I have nothing to offer you right now. When I saw your techniques just now, the dagger in your hand seemed to be a piece of starter equipment. Take this short dagger as a token of my goodwill. As he spoke, he took out a dagger from his waist and handed it over. On the bright silver scabbard, there were a few gems embellished. Could this be a gold-grade equipment? Bullsh*T, how can that be a gold-grade equipment? F***ck, this attribute, isn't this too F***king overpowering? This value, it's not something that can be measured with money. Guild leader He Yu sure is a generous man. When He Yu took out that dagger, everyone was shocked. When Lu Chen saw the attributes of that dagger, he too could not help but gasp. Blade of Darkness, exclusive to assassins, grade. Unknown, attack. Plus 500, special effect. When you successfully assassinate an enemy, you will permanently gain 10% of the enemy's attributes. This effect will grow with the growth of the wearer. Another exclusive weapon. Moreover, the grade was unknown. Putting aside that heaven-defying special effect, just the 500 attack bonus in the early stage was already extremely terrifying. Such a valuable treasure could no longer be measured with money. Moreover, those who knew about the Dark Knight Guild knew that Yu was an assassin himself. To him, such a piece of equipment was simply a divine weapon. How could he so easily give it away? Lu Chen naturally knew this as well. Therefore, he glanced at the middle-aged man in front of him and shook his head. I'm sorry, this item is too valuable. I can't accept it. There is no reward without merit. Yu shook his head and said, Mr. Morning Mist, I have no ill will. I only represent the Dark Knight Guild and wish to befriend you. This equipment to you is to show my sincerity. Among the many polite people, Yu garnered the attention of everyone by taking out a piece of equipment. Compared to those who only knew how to talk, this gesture was indeed full of sincerity. Lu Chen was also somewhat tempted by this dagger. After all, growth-level equipment was something that could only be found by chance. It was a perfect match for his dark Shura. He pondered for a moment and said, if that's the case, I'll accept it. As soon as he said that, Yu's face lit up. What he wanted was for Lu Chen to accept it. If he could gain Lu Chen's favor, it would be worth it to give the equipment away. However, before he could say anything, Lu Chen's voice sounded again. However, I don't like to owe others favors either. After saying that, a scroll appeared in his hand as he spoke. This is a teleportation scroll. Consider it my return gift. Lu Chen's action made everyone feel suffocated. Even Yu was stunned on the spot. I'm giving you a gift, not asking you to give me an even more F*King valuable one. Do you know the F*King value of this thing? Yu thought to himself. The scroll itself was still fine, but the most important thing was that he now had the opportunity to be the first to enter White Fog City. Even the higher-ups around had expressed their disdain. The first person to enter White Fog City would most likely receive the full benefits of the higher-ups. Yu hurriedly waved his hand and said, Mr. Morning Mist, I hope you're not pulling a prank on me. This item is much too valuable, I can't take it. Chapter 17 You are listening at novelfull.audio. This scroll is much too important. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Everyone's eyes were burning. If not for the fact that they were all big shots, they would have expressed themselves differently. Everyone was trying to hold themselves back in order not to start a fight. Even Gu Yiming and Su Ziyuan did not expect him to do that. How could the teleportation scroll be given away that easily? At this moment, everyone regretted that they did not prepare a gift that could move Lu Chen. Lu Chen looked at Yu, and he could feel this guy's sincerity. In fact, the teleportation scroll did not mean that much to him. The first to enter White Fog City. Getting the resources of the higher-ups. A 100 million reward. Did this mean anything to him? That would only place him in the limelight of the storm. Today's even had made Lu Chen realize something. Sometimes, it was not a good thing to be too dazzling. He did not believe that there would be no price for the higher-ups to provide benefits to the first player that enters the White Fog City. There would definitely be many restrictions, and the more he thought about that possibility, the more he did not like it. Therefore, he might as well give the first scroll to someone else. In exchange, he would get this dagger that was equally as rare. Lu Chen waved his hand and said to Yu, you don't have to say anything else anymore. If I give it to you, it means that you can keep it. How you want to deal with it is up to you. I'm only exchanging it for this dagger that you've given me. Deep in the forest, Lu Yuan was so angry that she cried out. This B****, does he know what he's giving away? Lu, let go of me. I must go out and smash his tiny head. Behind Lu Yuan, an older woman hugged her tightly and said with a helpless and bitter smile, calm down. Yu has a clean record. He can more or less guess the value of this thing. She did not expect Lu Chen to be so reckless. How could such a thing be given away casually? This could change the game structure of the early stages of Dragon Country. She looked at He Yu with worry in her eyes. This guy was a top-notch assassin trained by the organization. Due to some internal conflicts, he fell out with the higher-ups. Now, Lu Chen had given him an extremely good opportunity. If he were to seize it, he might really get into big trouble. Meanwhile, He Yu's breathing had quickened. This teleportation scroll had an extraordinary significance. With it, he would have the opportunity to do something big. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for decades. Initially, he only befriended Lu Chen so that when the time came, he would seek Lu Chen's help. However, now there was a brand new choice. The question standing would be if he was going to seize the opportunity that has befallen him. Lu Chen looked at the silent crowd with some displeasure. He then threw the scroll directly into He Yu's hand. You people are just dawdling. I'll give you the scroll. You and I are even. I don't owe you any favors. Goodbye. After saying that, he walked straight into the depths of Wolf Valley. Only the petrified people were left behind. Such a valuable thing was given away just like that. Also, this guy was still walking into the depths of the Wolf Valley. Could it be that he was going to challenge the silver-level Wolf King boss? Was this guy crazy? Bronze bosses and silver bosses were completely different levels. Was this guy seeking for a deathbed? Lu Chen ignored the gazes of others and resolutely stepped into the depths of the Wolf Valley. In the Wolf Valley, all the people left exchanged a look of suspicion towards each other. Then, they began to quickly disperse. He Yu held the scroll in his hand, not knowing what to do. After a long time, almost all the people around him left. Only a few people came out from the depths of the forest. He Yu, long time no see. There was a thin and weak man, but his eyes were sharp and his eyes were even twinkling. He Yu raised his head and looked at the man. Hey, why are you here? Then, Lu Yuan and Lu Yu also walked out. I didn't expect this scroll to be in your hands. Lu Yu looked at He Yu and shook her head. He Yu was silent. He used to be the top soldier king in the organization. However, because of a certain mission, his daughter died in the West. What he wanted to do was to take revenge. His personal grudges were suppressed under the consideration of the overall situation of the Dragon Country. From then on, he had left the organization. This scroll was very likely an opportunity for him to achieve his goal. It was a bargaining chip that could give him a chance to kill his enemy. He Yu's voice was a little hoarse. He looked at his former teammates and said, "What are you guys doing here? You want me to give you this thing?" Lu Yu shook her head and said, "There's no need for that. It's a gift for you. You can use it however you want." The higher-ups didn't say that this thing must be used by Morning Mist. Lu Yuan was shocked and said, "Sister, this." Lu Yu raised her hand to interrupt her and said to He Yu, "But, old friend, think carefully about what you wish to do with it. You can be the first to enter White Fog City. The higher-ups might even agree to give you this opportunity to attack. But, can you really kill everything that stands in your path? I hope you will think about it carefully and not do anything stupid." After saying that, she turned around and left. Lu Yuan also left with Lu Yu. Only the old man, who was originally not in a proper shape, was left. He walked over and patted He Yu's shoulder with a solemn expression. "Don't worry, Lu Yu has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. She just doesn't want anything bad to happen to you. If the higher-ups really agree to give you a chance to make a move, Long Air will be the first to go with you." He Yu was silent for a moment, then nodded and said, "Thank you." Long Air stood up and sighed. "Take care of yourself. It's good to get closer to that kid, Morning Mist." The higher-ups are paying attention to this kid after all. Long Air quickly left after he finished speaking. Hey Yu looked at the scroll in his hand and fell into deep thought. A moment later, countless players from the Dark Knight Guild gathered in Wolf Valley. Hey Yu, is it true that the teleportation scroll is really in your hands? Does that mean we have a chance? Yes, as long as the higher-ups agree, we will be the first to follow you. That's right, kill those sons of B** cheese. That B** tard's luck was off the roof in the past. He won't be so lucky this time. Hey Yu was silent. Suddenly, he said sternly, enough. Everyone fell silent. I've decided. I won't be the first to use this thing. Everyone was stunned. Why? Hey Yu, this is your only chance. Didn't you dream of taking revenge ever since it happened? Hey Yu sighed and said, I want to take revenge, but have any of you thought about it thoroughly? Even if the higher-ups give me this chance, how confident are we if we go to the west? If I take this chance, the higher-ups will get into trouble, and so will all of you. When the time comes, if the higher-ups really force me to go back, will I have a choice? I'm from the Dragon Country. Should my country need me, I won't sit idly by. The players of the Dark Knight Guild all lowered their heads and remained silent. Hey Yu held the scroll and slowly said, apart from that, I have another thing to consider. Morning mist has already been noticed by the higher-ups. I think no one else should be the first to arrive at White Fog City. Give him this opportunity to be the first. I'll go only after he arrives. This is a favor. Although he won't say it out loud, he will remember it in his heart. I believe in my own judgment. He is a person who values friendship. I also believe in this kid's potential. Chapter 18. You are listening at novelfull.audio. F***ck, White Alliance finally gets retribution. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The internet was once again in an uproar. All the hot searches were all about Lu Qin. Breaking news, White Alliance's guild leader declared war on player Morning Mist, and would not rest until one of them was dead. The overlord with over 100,000 shield points was killed with a single slash, and guild leader Xiao Chuan flew into a rage out of humiliation. Miss Su threw herself into the arms of the Gu family's young master to support Morning Mist. Player Morning Mist said that he would not let any White Alliance player off the hook. The epic level scroll has finally appeared. The Dark Knight Guild may become the biggest winner. The comments section from all the major videos blew up. The entire Dragon Country players were all attracted by this Wold Valley incident. F***ck, even the Gu family from the north and the White Alliance from the south were there. Not only that, the Su family and Chen family that are low-key major forces were there too. Is this Morning Mist person really that awesome? Hee, brother, I'm afraid you don't know the value of the Sword God and Bow God. This video is too awesomely ridiculous. I feel like it's King joke. With a single slash, he killed the guild leader Xiao Chuan. He completely ignored the shield. TSK, this is definitely an assassin's trick. I'm sure that Morning Mist has a hidden title. That's right. Otherwise, why would Hey Yu give that dagger to Morning Mist? At the same time, the various major powers on the market all revealed their high prices in order to snatch the teleportation scroll from Hey Yu. Our Chen family is willing to pay 300 million for this epic.grade scroll. Hey Yu, our guild knows about your past. As long as you give us the scroll, I can send you to the western region easily. Hey Yu, you know the strength of our Gu family. As long as you can give us the scroll, you ask for any conditions. Our Gu family won't even bargain with you. Right when countless people were fighting over this scroll, Hey Yu finally spoke up. I, Hey Yu, hereby declare that I will not use this scroll casually. Nor will I sell it. This is a gift from Mr. Morning Mist. I hope everyone understands. After making this statement, Hey You disappeared. This made everyone confused. What did Hey You mean? Instead of taking this huge benefit, he was being pretentious. He would not wait until morning mist was the first to arrive at White Fog City before using it, right? This action of his was too despicable. When the outside world was exploding, Liu Chen had already walked into the depths of Wolf Valley. Wolf Valley was very large. From the outside, it looked like an open valley. After passing through the open valley in the middle, the path became narrow and long. On both sides stood tall mountains and dense forests. Wild monsters had also been leveled up from a level 8 to level 10. Liu Chen had been walking for a long time. He had a faint feeling that Wolf Valley might not be an ordinary place. The structure of Second World was completely different from other games. For an online game, this place was filled with unreasonable existences. Apart from the guide for the first mission in Novice Village, there were no other guides for future missions. Everything depended on the players to figure it out themselves. Meanwhile, outside of White Fog City, everyone was complaining. There were wild monsters everywhere that were extremely difficult to kill. The difficulty of the new location felt like a living hell. During this period of time, there were no class upgrades and no business transactions. There were even no equipment purchases allowed either. This place was all based on the players killing monsters and leveling up by themselves, exploring step by step. There were no quests, and especially no guidance whatsoever. The road leading to White Fog City was divided into 6 paths, and each path had a silver-grade boss. To ordinary players, this was simply an insurmountable mountain to overcome. No game would allow players to be trapped outside of the Novice Village forever. If it were not for the fact that the whole world was pushing it, and that the currency was bound, such a game would have long persuaded the players to leave. Liu Chen's eyes were solemn. The monster in front of him had already been raised to level 15. The very sturdy giant wolf's eyes were filled with a cold demeanor. White mist was spewing out of its nose, and the soles of its feet were enough to cover a person's face. Its body was the same size as an ordinary car. Sturdy Wolf King Guard, level 15, HP, 2000, attack 700, defense 30, characteristics. Extremely fast, has a high attack and high critical hit rate, skills. Squall, Swift Claw, Squall. Spits out a strong storm, dealing 50% maximum HP damage to the enemy in front of you. Those caught will be restrained for 2 seconds. Swift Claw. Enhances the agility of one's body, grants 100% critical hit probability, lasts for 10 seconds. Liu Chen had a total of 2000 HP, 2 skills, and an attack power of up to 700 points combined. This was almost comparable to a bronze-tier boss. Elite monsters were everywhere in the depths of the valley. This was not something that an ordinary person could defeat. Liu Chen then activated his Sword God status. His attack power instantly received a 500% bonus. The attack power on the system interface was now 1390 points. After receiving the bonus from God's Sword State, it directly became 6,950 points. Liu Chen then took a step forward and instantly killed the wild monster in front of him with a single slash. A bright red number floated above the head. In the valley, the sound of corpses falling to the ground alarmed the wolf pack, and many pairs of green eyes looked towards the sound. Due to the synchronization of time in the second world and the real world, the Wolf Valley had already fallen into darkness. In the dark night, the wolf pack started to surround Liu Chen. It was densely packed, and there were more than 1,000 of them. Such a sight could make anyone cower in fear. Liu Chen pondered for a moment and directly switched to the form of the Blade God. Although the Sword God had strong combat strength, he could not win in such a large-scale battle. A woo! With a wolf howl, the wolf pack charged at Liu Chen. He held the dagger in his hand and waved it. Therefore, within a radius of 100 meters, the cries of wolves could be heard. The dagger in Lu Chen's hand, due to the enhancement of the blade god, burst out with a sharp aura, covering the surrounding 100 meters. Even so, there were still wolves that broke into the defensive circle. They managed to dodge the attack and caused a lot of damage to Lu Chen. Lu Chen even saw the existence of a level 20 giant wolf. If not for the terrifying recovery effect of the blade god, he would have died several times over. Finally, after half an hour, Lu Chen stopped. Although his HP was still more than 50%, his mind was indescribably tired. At this moment, there were no more wolves around him, however. Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief. His level had also risen to level 10. He did not even have the time to pick up the various gold coins and equipment on the ground when on the hill in front of him, a huge black shadow appeared. Chapter 19. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Entering the Depths of the Wolf Valley. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. On the hill, the bright moonlight illuminated the area. With the help of the moonlight, Lu Chen gradually saw the appearance of a swift-moving black shadow. It was the Wolf King clad in snow-white fur. Under the breeze of the strong wind, its eyes were filled with compassion. The sound of falling leaves around it was like a hymn, filling its appearance with a holy feeling. Lu Chen seemed to feel human-like emotions in its eyes. Was it odd to learn that a wild monster could be filled with complex emotions? A wolf. As the Wolf King howled, the valley echoed itself back. The silver moonlight gathered on the Wolf King's body as specks of dust flitted around its body. The information about the Wolf King appeared in Lu Chen's mind. Ancient Wolf King, level 20, silver, HP, 100,000, attack 8,000, defense 100, magic defense 100, skill. Howling Moon, Howling Moon. An exclusive skill of the ancient wolves. There will be different effects depending on the awakening of the bloodline. The Wolf King howls at the moon. It now deals 1000 magic damage per second to enemies under the moonlight. Lasts for 20 seconds. The Wolf King howls at the moon. It has strengthened its body, giving it a chance to awaken the bloodline in its body and complete its transformation. Cooldown time is 3 months. Lu Chen was shocked. This was the first time he had seen such a skill that lasted for this long. Ever since the appearance of the exclusive equipment, this so-called exclusive skill had also appeared. As for the ancient Wolf King, there was no information about it on the official website of the Second World at all. Moreover, how could such an early boss have 100,000 HP? Plus, its attack power was as high as 8,000 points. Was this really a level 20 boss? How could a bunch of players who have never gone through a class change defeat such a monster? Apart from that, even the Howling Moon skill was just as ridiculous as the whole situation. This skill deals 1000 magic damage per second to the enemies under the moonlight and even lasts for a full 20 seconds. How in the world was Lu Chen going to defeat such a beast? The most absurd thing was that the opponent had an unknown strengthening effect. Right when Lu Chen was thinking about ways to defeat the boss, the ancient Wolf King pounced towards him. Its speed was so quick that it moved like a flash of lightning. Fortunately, Lu Chen immediately switched to his dark Shura form and disappeared into the void. The ancient Wolf King pounced into the air, letting out a furious roar in the valley as it barely missed its opponent. In the shadows, one could see Lu Chen gripping tightly on a blade, ready to attack. His attack power rose, directly breaking through to 2,000 points. One-hit kill. Lu Chen's body appeared behind the ancient Wolf King like a ghost, and his dagger directly pierced into its fur. 0.6000. A bright red number floated up. The Wolf King felt the pain and let out a loud roar. Its sharp claws brushed past the tip of Lu Chen's nose in retaliation. One hit kill did not manage to kill the beast, so Lu Chen once again entered the darkness. His heart sank slightly. This Wolf King's health bar was too high. Having 100,000 HP, and 6,000 damage in one attack, it was simply impossible to kill him. According to this rate of progress, he would have to make at least 16 moves. For each time he exposes himself from the shadows, he would be vulnerable to the Wolf King's attack. That strike just now could have almost taken his life right there and then. The stakes were high, but he had no other choice but to carry out with this plan. Lu Chen could only brace himself and hide patiently in the dark. Finally, a moment later, he found another opportunity to strike. The Wolf King's HP was reduced by 600 points again. However, only 10% of the total HP was reduced. This made Lu Chen very nervous. If he had not switched to his shield god form at the critical moment, he would have been instantly killed. Even so, he still received 800 damage points. His HP was only left with less than 500 points now. During this period of time, he would not be able to withstand a single strike from the ancient Wolf King. Lu Chen hid in the darkness, waiting for his HP to recover while he waited for an opportunity to strike yet again. Finally, half an hour later, Lu Chen attacked with all his might, and the dagger slashed across the Wolf King's neck. It took away another 6,000 HP. In the valley, the giant ancient Wolf King turned extremely furious. It was an extremely powerful beast, that was why the humans that invaded the Wolf Valley refused to fight it head-on. Fortunately, the sneak attacks Lu Chen did were going well. As long there was an opportunity, he would appear like a poisonous snake. He would give his opponent a vicious blow. He had no choice but to focus 200% of his attention on his surroundings at all times. Thus, the man and the wolf were stuck in a stalemate. 10 hours had passed. Lu Chen's mind was on the verge of collapsing. During these 10 hours, he had only found 7 opportunities to attack. After his HP was fully recovered, he had taken another blow from the Wolf King. Thankfully, he relied on the shield god to absorb some of the damage, causing him to only have a decrease in HP. On the other hand, the other party still had 40,000 HP left. As for the ancient Wolf King, its originally agile eyes were no longer as agile as before. Its consciousness started to become somewhat scattered. Both parties were now spent. At this moment, dawn was on its way. The darkness around them was beginning to fade away. Swoosh! Another slash. In the darkness, a wolf could be heard letting out a pained cry towards the valley. Anger and humiliation surged into the Wolf King's heart. This was the Wolf Valley that they have guarded for generations. The Wolf King would absolutely not let outsiders in. Thus, the Wolf King raised its head to let out a howl that pierced through the cloud. Immediately, the dark clouds dissipated, and a huge, pure white moon appeared in the night sky. Everything in the valley could now be seen much more clearly. The strong wind blew across the grass, and the fur of the ancient Wolf King swayed with the wind. The ancient Wolf King howled at the moon. Lu Chen's scalp went numb. He wanted to hide, but the moonlight covered the entire world. There was no way he could hide from this. Beams of moonlight shed the ground, as though they were limelight. However, each beam was like a sword, and it directly pierced through Lu Chen's body. 1000. The moment he saw the bright red number, he knew that he was done for. Lu Chen's mouth was filled with bitterness. This silver level boss was too much of a challenge to be picked on now. After enduring for more than 10 hours, it was all in vain. Right as he was about to give up, the system notification sounded again. Your death proficiency has increased to the highest level. You have obtained the title, Undead. Undead. Your understanding of death has reached an unfathomable level. When you die in battle, there is a 50% chance of resurrection. You can be resurrected up to 3 times in a row. Your skills will increase as the player's level increases. A white light enveloped Lu Chen. Due to his low HP, he was resurrected at full condition. In his ecstasy, Lu Chen did not have time to do anything unnecessary and immediately activated his shield god form. With that, he used it to block the damage from the moonlight. Chapter 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Taming God. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The beams of moonlight landed on the light shield, causing ripples. After being reduced by 90% of the damage, it could only deal 85 damage to Lu Chen per second, due to the existence of indestructible. However, the duration of the Howling Moon skill was as long as 20 seconds. Even if the moonlight's damage was reduced to 85 points, Lu Chen's HP would still not last until the end of the opponent's casting. Moreover, the probability of resurrecting was only at 50%. Lu Chen did not dare to take on the gamble of death. Therefore, he had to think of another way. Lu Chen directly raised his shield and approached the Wolf King with great difficulty. Meanwhile, on the hill, the Wolf King was bathed in pure moonlight. It even looked particularly sacred. A mysterious and ancient feeling rose up. Countless specks of starlight danced around the Wolf King and it looked to be ancient. The howls of the Wolf King were also becoming more and more ancient sounding. With one howl, the entire Wolf Valley emitted a distant and mysterious aura. Lu Chen felt that the ancient Wolf King seemed to be undergoing some sort of change. Under the cover of the moonlight, its huge body slowly rose into the air. He suddenly remembered the description of the ancient Wolf King's skill. Under the state of the ancient Wolf King's Howling Moon skill, the ancient Wolf King would undergo some sort of strange change. For Lu Chen, a change at this time was not necessarily a good thing. It was not easy for him to beat the ancient Wolf King's HP down to 40,000. He did not want his efforts to go to waste. Lu Chen raised his shield and approached the ancient Wolf King. He even saw the numerous wounds on the ancient Wolf King's body. The moonlight seemed to gather on the hill, like a silver light pillar. The Wolf King that was floating in the air started to lose its fur. Everything started to turn into a snowstorm. Its original beast-like form turned into a human shape in the dense mist. Lu Chen was shocked. Was this the power of a silver-level boss, to be able to turn into a human? Lu Chen raised his shield and arrived under the bright pillar of moonlight. Gritting his teeth, he raised his shield and rushed towards the human shape. Shield backlash. Bang! The attack landed on the silhouette, but it did not cause any damage. Was it immune to attacks? Lu Chen's scalp tingled. At this moment, his opponent's magic effect had finally passed. Lu Chen finally let out a sigh of relief. He then switched to the sword god state. His attack power increased fivefold as he slashed towards the evolving Wolf King. However, the attack was to no avail. The Wolf King did not receive any damage. This time, Lu Chen really felt a headache oncoming. Even the sword god state could not deal any damage. This was unbelievable. He got angry and switched forms again. Every switch he did, he just cascaded attack after attack down onto the ancient Wolf King. 10 minutes later. Lu Chen stood at the side as he panted tirelessly. This time, he really had no other choice. He had tried every form from the sword god to the blade god. However, there was no other way. The pillar of light in front of him was still tightly wrapped around the ancient Wolf King. It was like a turtle shell, no matter how hard he tried, he could not open it. This was the first time Lu Chen had seen such a bizarre transformation of a wild monster. Would a silver-level boss evolve into a gold-level boss? Lu Chen was afraid of this happening. If a silver-level boss was so difficult to deal with, it would mean he would have no chance of defeating a gold-level boss. Should he leave? However, deep down in his heart, he wanted to prevail. He had clearly reached the final step, yet his final challenge seemed impossible. Lu Chen looked at the light and paced slowly on the hill. At this moment, his mental state had been weakened. He had fought for more than 10 hours in the tensest state. Before this, he had even fought a few battles in the valley. He had almost squeezed his mental state to the utmost limit. He could faint at any time. However, Lu Chen forced himself to maintain a vague consciousness. He was weak, but the Wolf King was also weakened. It would be a pity if he gave up just like that. There must be a way to break this light screen. He looked at the moonlight falling from the sky and fell into deep thought. The outline of the beast inside had completely disappeared and was replaced by a human figure. The strong silver-white light seemed to be holding something. Lu Chen turned his gaze to his interface. After searching for a moment, he finally found a title that he had never used before in the title interface. Taming God. In the 1,000 years he spent in the Hare's Cave, Lu Chen had done almost everything that he could do, including capturing and taming rabbits. He had even turned the newly spawned wild rabbit into his battle helper. This was not the first time he had done such a thing. Switch. Lu Chen was looking forward to the effects of the Taming God. Taming God. Your understanding of taming and calling has reached an unfathomable level. When you try to capture and tame a target, you will receive a special effect bonus. This effect will grow with the level of the target. Top-tier capture. You can capture a target regardless of the level. Forcefully changing the target will take up a pet limit. Current slot, 0/3, top-tier domestication. When you communicate with your pet and feed it, there is a high probability of increasing intimacy and favorability. Dominator. Your pet will not be able to resist your orders. Lu Chen looked at the Wolf King with determination in his eyes. Regarding the 100,000 HP, it was still a wild monster. Capture. Lu Chen immediately activated the special effect of the Taming God. He raised his hand and a huge capture net shot out from his palm. The net directly enveloped the human figure under the light pillar. A message immediately appeared in his mind. Ancient Wolf King, level 20, evolving, attack. HP, defense. Magic defense. Skills. Status. Captured, player. Morning Mist. Lu Chen was delighted. It was a success. At this moment, the moonlight dissipated and everything around him dimmed. The pitch-black darkness made Lu Chen feel a little dizzy. He had really reached his limit. Above him, the silhouette of the human figure smashed down and landed on Lu Chen. Exhaustion struck. The system issued a warning. The game has detected that the player is in a state of extreme fatigue. You will now be forced offline in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. The scene in front of him quickly disappeared, and Lu Chen was forced to log off. Meanwhile, in Lu Chen's rented room, the brightly lit game pod was shining with a ray of light. A human figure could be seen sleeping on Lu Chen's chest.